phrase all the time, but words mean nothing if they're not matched by commensurate actions. We all know absolutely that looking after our children well, getting to know them as they grow, finding ways to make their lives safe, happy and fulfilled is what every parent aspires to, and indeed I hope every teacher when they embark on their career. But it isn't always easy, though. Children can be stubborn, petulant, anxious, much like their parents probably. Children have a natural curiosity to discover, to learn and to play, and every good parent or teacher enjoys nothing more than fuelling those interests and having the wonderful satisfaction of watching the child blossom, discover new things, learn about their own unique character and gifts, and start their life's journey with pleasure and excitement. But sadly, Madam Deputy Speaker, for vulnerable children, those with physical, neurological or emotional higher needs than most, this vision of a healthy and nurturing childhood can only be a dream. The reality is that many of those most in need of nurture and care find that they get none of that. By their particular difference, they struggle with the normal learning environment. And as those around them fail to realise that their charges are in distress, these children use the only tools they have to demonstrate their anxieties, their fears, or even their terrors, and they display what we call challenging behaviour. Now, I'm not a fan of PC language, Madam Deputy Speaker, as you know, but what does challenging behaviour actually mean? Well, it means lashing out, or perhaps hiding away. It means a child is being put under too much stress, and so the most basic survival instincts kick in, and the child, fearful of whatever it is that is going on around them, or indeed to them, try to protect him or herself within the limited tools available to them. As the mother of a now nearly 20-year-old university student, but undiagnosed for Asperger's until he was nearly 9 years old, learning to provide a world around him so that he could thrive rather than struggle and suffer from profound anxiety attacks due to the normal environment around him was indeed a learning curve. But once we found an intervention which worked, having identified the source of the distress, his anxiety and challenging behaviour, as it's now called, would simply fall away. A bright boy, a happy child, reading for hours at a time. Other children near him, not so good. People touching his food, profoundly upsetting. Bright lights or loud noises unexpectedly, meltdown guaranteed. My son was lucky beyond words. We had teachers always willing to learn how to support him so that he could enjoy school. A beanbag hidden behind a teacher's desk to escape to if a lesson was too noisy. An agreement and explanation to other children why he only ate certain foods. Extraordinary staff who learned with us and with him how to provide a positive environment. And in so doing, they allowed my son to thrive and succeed within mainstream school. But not every child with special needs is so lucky. I first met the wonderful Ella, one of my younger constituents, when her mother Ellie contacted me shortly after I was first elected, in a state of profound distress and anger at the long-term physical damage caused to her daughter by the use of physical restraint, leading to violent reactive behaviour which left her with physical permanent damage. There seemed to be no way to empower Ella's parents to challenge the school, nor to ask for justification for the use of restraint. This family are extraordinary, Madam Deputy Speaker. Nothing, and there have been so many brick walls put in their way, has stopped them from battling on to drive change for both their daughter and other vulnerable children. But the school didn't help, Madam Deputy Speaker. The council didn't really get stuck in as they should have done to meet their duty of care for this bright young girl. Only Ella's parents and friends really fought to effect change for their girl and for others they know need better support and the enactment of what having a duty of care actually means. What we need is for government to help us change the existing, inadequate at best, systems, from basic national guidance for teachers and support staff to evidence-based early intervention support for families. Learning what works for your child's health and well-being isn't easy, and every parent is always a novice. So let's share the evidence and the best practice to help each other most effectively. In doing that, positive behaviour support training in schools will quickly change the challenges into good environments for these children, and the adults in loco parentis for them whilst in their care, from whence reductions in cost to the state and, most importantly, the reduction and hopefully an end to unnecessary, unacceptable, irreparable damage to these young people, be it physical or emotional damage. So much can be avoided with intelligent and supportive environments. All children are born with great potential, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I always say it's the adults around them who help them to either thrive or indeed allow them to fail. We can do so much better to get this right early on, support parents and thereby help each child to reach their potential. To ensure we get this right, Madam Deputy Speaker, we need a safeguarding system which is fit for purpose. Ofsted need to be inspecting specifically for safeguarding outcomes for disabled and special needs children, for which all schools must have a robust mandatory recording system of all interventions with their pupils so that parents, councils and Ofsted can see what's actually going on and hold them to account. With my work on children's services on the Public Accounts Committee, I continue to be dismayed that Ofsted seem to have little guidance to inspect the outcomes for our most vulnerable children. In this area of restraint usage and oversight of special needs management through to foster and kinship care, we need to see clearer inspection rules, a much stronger accountability system which has recording and reporting of restrictive interventions and actions so that harm to our most precious children can be held to account. Thank you.
Steve Reid.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'd like to start by congratulating the Honourable Member for North Norfolk in securing this important debate and for the very powerful case that he just made. The whole House, I'm sure, pays tribute to him for the progress he's led in improving conditions for people with mental ill health over many years. And personally, I'd like to thank him for the support and advice he so generously gave me during the passage of Shelley's law last year. The use of restraint and excessive force is one of the most pressing issues for children who have experience of secure mental health units. Restraint is humiliating and degrading for children as it is for adults. It can undermine their recovery and it can make the child's mental health condition worse. There have been too many tragic incidents where children and young people have been seriously injured or even killed because of excessive restraint. Shelley's law came about in response to the horrific death of my constituent, Sheni Lewis. Sheni, just 21 years old at the time, died following severe and prolonged face-down restraint in a seclusion unit in a mental health hospital, when up to 11 police officers took it in turns to pin him face down on the ground with his hands cuffed behind his head and his legs in shackles. This triggered a heart attack which put him into a coma, and he was left to die all alone in a room, tied up, face down on the floor. Now, Sheni's tragic story is just one of too many deaths and too many scandals, including Winterbourne View, Southern Health, St Andrews, and many others that members will be familiar with. It's shocking that children are more likely to be restrained than adults. According to the leading mental health charity Young Minds, children under the age of 20 are 4 times more likely to be restrained face down than adults, 3 times more likely than adults to be tranquilised, twice as likely as adults to be put in handcuffs or in leg braces.